1 year ago, I published my first Deep Rock Galactic video, Simple Mining Mission. Since then, I've published north of a dozen videos related to this game, with more in the making. Some did extremely well, and some did not that well. I've done tutorials, clip dumps, and theory crafting, but the videos that I enjoy making the most are the animations. The idea for the animations comes, as a lot of people have pointed out, from Carbot Animations. I've been a fan of Carbot ever since StarCraft Season 2, and I still enjoy their content to this day. The storyboard for the first episode fit on a single sheet of paper, and the bulk of it was originally going to take place on a stage comprised of a very long background that Scout would traverse, going from mineral vein to mineral vein. However, coming back from a trip to the grocery store, I had the idea that this shot would look cooler if it was from the perspective of inside the wall. And from there, the episode grew in complexity as I redrew it to have more interesting angles. A gag that didn't end up making the cut was that Scout would have run across the screen yelling "Molly, Molly, Molly" as if he was spamming his C key. Molly would have then followed suit, stutter-stepping every time the dwarf called for her. I pretty much just axed the scene just out of sheer laziness. And speaking of gags, the video opens up with what I consider a classic bug from DRG, where in multiplayer you often don't hear voice lines appropriate to your team composition as you ride inside the drop pod. Considering that Scout is quote-unquote playing in single player, this is somewhat of an inconsistency, but I was pretty adamant about opening with this bit because I believe it sets the tone for what I want this series to be. Humor that is relatable, and humor that is dedicated to the people in the know. And let me be clear, I don't mean to cram community memes into the episodes, because I honestly could not care less about the memes originating from r/DRG. But going back on topic, I have an old version of this scene saved from when I first started producing the video. As you can see, the colors are way less saturated, and the drop pod seats were way more obviously a couch than in the final version. You may have also noticed earlier, but the original was going to take place in sandblasted corridors. At some point it changed to the Azure Weald, before finally landing in the dense biozone. Another inconsistency in this episode that bothers me quite a lot, but I have not seen anyone point this out. I didn't use the correct pitch for Scout's voice.
Inventory is full!
This is Engineer's voice. If you didn't know, there's only one set of voice files in the game, and the other 3 are played at a different pitch.
That guy in mission control, he really has a cozy job.
That guy in mission control, he really has a cozy job.
That guy in mission control, he really has a cozy job. That guy in mission control, he really has a cozy job.
The only other remarkable thing in this episode I'd say would be Gunner's early design. He has the big cartoonish nose, although it's not pink. He has the cigar from the promo art, the bulky shoulder pads, the bushy eyebrows, and he's bald. Overall, I think the new design is way better, and similar to early Scout, I think brighter colors just makes them more enjoyable to look at. Before we wrap up, I made a community post a while back asking for questions, so we're going to answer those. If you'd like to have your question answered in the next video I do about the making of the animations, either leave them in this comment section or be on the lookout for my community feed, which you will see more consistently if you are subscribed. Zevious Bread asks, how many creeps can you with one swing of the pen? Alternatively, when rival and plague animation / drawing, I want to see Little Burster it. To answer your first question, work smarter, not harder. As for your second question, I don't want to include season 1 to 3 content in the mainline series of animations for this first batch. The spirit of this series for now is to look at the vanilla game. If I ever do a season 2, it will be about both seasons of the robot content, and season 3 would relate to the Plague story arc. Jay Rice asks, how long does it take to animate an episode? The first episode I animated over the span of a week, so 2 weekends and a few hours each night. I haven't been good at tracking my time, which is something I'll be more wary of in the future, because I think it's an interesting statistic. The next episode will by far take me the longest because by nature I'm trying to make each one better than the last, and I think this is easily noticeable with the jump in quality from episode 2 to 3. With that, I want to say thank you to all of you for your continued support. As someone who has had video making as a passion since the age of 7, it means a lot to me to have something I make be recognized and appreciated after nearly 2 decades of being terminally invisible online. Hopefully, to another year of content.
Rock and stone, brother!
To the bone!